Hey guys, Alex Kozora here from SteelersDepot.com, getting ready for our live stream. Um, just want to Hey give guys, Alex Kozora second here to get this SteelersDepot.com, set up, getting ready for our so I can post a link so other people can join. So I'm letting the stream go right now um, of the Cowboys game, which I think I said earlier this week. If you're not invested in this game, if you're not a Steelers fan or a Cowboys fan, you're just looking at it objectively, this was a really fun game. It was a really exciting game. A lot of back and forth. The ratings were some of the best the league has had, maybe all season, or at least in several weeks. After things had cooled off and maybe there was some panic among the league. So it was a really good game. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, um, and I'm excited to get to chat with you guys about it. So let me just if you have a question, feel free to put it up. I'll answer it here in a moment. I just want to get the stream posted, the link to it set up so other people can join, and kind of get myself ready here so I can talk to you guys. So if you could just hold on for 1 second. Like I said, we do have the stream playing right now. If you want to see. Let me know if you have any issues with the stream, audio or video quality problems. Please let me know. I think the audio's been a little funny from time to time. The last video I did, I think it was a little off. Um, but I think I just have to keep doing the updates, and if you don't update to the newest software, I think it kind of screws with what you have. But let me know if you can see the stream, because I'm not. There it goes. Okay, because I wasn't seeing it on my end for a moment there. I just want to make sure that everything there is just kosher. If you're new to the chat, you can ask questions a couple different ways. You can ask on Twitter. You can ask on Steelers Depot. There is the link to the stream. It's Bloggers and Basements Talking Steelers. Click on that article, and you can ask in the comment section on that article, and I can answer them that way. Or the most common way is to ask on the YouTube live stream itself. But however is best for you to reach me, that works out fine for me. But those are the ways you can do it, really. Basically, Steelers Depot, Twitter if you want to, or on the YouTube live stream. We'll be here for about a half hour to an hour, just depending on how active the chat is. More people, obviously, the longer I'll be here for. If there aren't any questions, as we usually do, we'll go over some specific plays. And, we'll kind of walk through some of that. Get the live stream going here. Hopefully, you guys are having a good Friday. Really nice weather here in Western PA today. Hopefully, you're experiencing the same. So we'll give it a couple minutes here, let people join in. Usually by like 3:15 or so, you get a couple more people in. Those first 10 or 15 minutes or so, people aren't seeing it. They're getting to it, to the chat. So things usually are a little bit slow. But for the people that are watching right now, I see there are a couple here. Feel free to ask a question if you have one, either about this Cowboys game in particular, or about where the Steelers are headed, or something in the past, or 2017, or whatever's on your mind. Any Steelers related question. Be more than happy to answer. We'll probably start going through a couple plays here of note for anyone who's watching it live or anyone who watches the archive later as well. Because remember, these ones all get archived. You can find them on SteelersDepot.com, or if you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can find them all on there. The live streams themselves are always labeled just Alex Kozora live stream. Any other video with a more specific approach is going to be have a specific title to that video. So if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, you certainly can as well. You'll be one of the first to see the new videos. Also, like our Facebook page, Steelers Depot. That we usually post the videos to some of the other non-live streams to our Facebook page first, before Steelers Depot. So you can check them out that way if you really do want to be one of the first people to see the videos, because the videos don't usually go up until the morning on the site, but we'll post them usually that night, shortly after we make them on Facebook. Dylan, since it was a hot button topic this week, can we look at one or two of the 2-point attempts and maybe what the play design was? Certainly. Good to have you back, Dylan. Appreciate you stopping by. Um, if you haven't seen already, I did write about some of the ones, the first two actually, on Steelers Depot, and I probably do a better job explaining it there. And I use some kind of past season references to talk about these plays, but we'll go through them here. And I don't have a big problem with the 2-point conversions. I know a lot of people do. I think they're a hindsight play. I think if they work as they did last year, you get treated as an aggressive innovator and against the grain and a super smart coach and just generally praised. And when they don't work, you're usually called an idiot for trying to be too cute. And I think the play calls on most of these were sound, especially the first two. The third and fourth, of course, you were going to go for. So I don't think there was a debate there. But to your question, Dylan, here's the first one. Steelers are going to go empty set. They're here in, I think, 12 personnel because that's Xavier Grimble. There's Darius Green. Bell's going to motion out there to create that empty set look. And basically, they're just going to try to get a little pick play. They're going to have Bell run over top on a slant, and then Green's going to work under him, I believe. I think it's how it goes. Or maybe over the top. I forget which one of the two. But he's going to work to the corner on a fade route. And hopefully, with the defensive backs or the linebacker and the defensive back kind of playing at the same depth, you're hoping to try to get a pick there. And I think had the pick work, this play is a guaranteed success. But let's run this thing through so we can see what exactly they did. Yeah, Green's going to run over top of Bell. Bell's going to run underneath. The pick does not work. The Cowboys do a nice job to defend it. It was a really good job by them, especially Sean Lee here at number 50, to not get picked, to work over top. He's going to work over the top of Byron Jones here. Doesn't get picked. He's able to stop, Bell there. There's linebacker here as well. Or maybe that's defensive lineman dropping into coverage. And then you get the fade route here. So I generally don't like just, fade routes. But I think with that extra of that hopeful pick, because if there's a pick here and Jones gets caught in that wash, it's an easy touchdown for Ladarius Green, or 2-point conversion. So I like that extra element to it. I think the Cowboys just did a really nice job to defend it. And I think there also is the idea as if the pick worked on Ladarius Green, let's say Sean Lee got caught up and this was open, I think the ball would have gone to Bell. So I don't think it was just, your typical throw it up immediately, one step fade to your tight end in this case, or what you see a lot of times with receivers, just to go up and get a ball. There's some extra elements at play. So had it been just their typical standard flex screen out and throw a fade to him, I probably wouldn't have really liked it. But I like this extra element to it, so I'm okay with the design, and I think it was sound. And unfortunately, it did not work, but I did like the concept behind it. So that's the first one. The second one, this one's a staple play. This one is one that the Steelers have done many, many times. If they do it in training camp, I mean, this is a money play for them. It's actually to the point where it's getting predictable because once you see this motion here from Antonio Brown, this kind of thing, the ball is going to the flat to him. So let me back this up and run this whole thing through so you can see this little motion. This is supposed to go to AB in the flat all day, and they've scored off of this in touchdowns. They've had 2-point conversions work on this. I mean, they practice this all the time in their 7 shots. So that's where the ball's supposed to go. Obviously, it does not. And while there are other eligibles to go out in the pattern on this play, there really isn't much of a design second read. I'm sure when they throw this ball in practice, 99 out of 100 times it goes to AB in the flat. So why didn't it work here? Because this is a money play for them. I think there's a couple reasons for that. One is typically, I think they're going to do this against teams that are man heavy or situations where they expect man down on the goal line. So usually that means the cornerback is following across the formation. And with AB's kind of little back and forth motion, like you start to get here, he kind of puts the cornerback on his toes. And if he's even a step behind by the time AB gets to the flat, the cornerback has no chance to get there. But I think the big play here was Byron Jones, number 31. He recognizes what's going on with AB. He knows what play is coming, and he calls off the corner and Jones himself decides to take AB. Now Jones isn't going to get out leveraged the way that this cornerback would, having to work across the field, work through trash, and just try to, get back in position because he's trailing the whole way. Jones isn't going to trail here. So you see, uh, actually, is that Jones? That might be Orlando Scandrick. I think I said Jones on the post, but either way, the corner here recognizes this, calls off the corner here. I think it's Brandon Carr to follow, and so now that flat route is taken away. There's no leverage here for Antonio Brown. Yeah, I think that is Orlando Scandrick. My bad. I think I called him Byron Jones in my report. But anyway, so that's the first issue. The second issue is I think the snap was too late. Usually, and if you go back in the Depot article, you'll see I point this out. Usually on this motion, the ball is snapped basically right as Brown gets to the right hash. Maybe the second as he's leaving, his back foot's coming off the right hash. This way, it gives him room to run to the flat. It gives him time and space. Here, the ball is snapped, and Brown's already, you know, basically a step outside of the tight end here in a two tight end set. So now there's really no space at all for Brown to go. By the time the Ben drops back, Brown is out of space. The corner's there to react. Play's blown up. Now you're just trying to go to your second read, trying to find anything else. So this is a money call for Pittsburgh. But unfortunately, I think there were another good play by the Cowboys. We'll see the end zone angle here as well. One, a money play by Dallas, but two, I think there were some breakdowns in the snap count of that snap being just simply too late, and Brown not having space because by the time the Ben dropped back, there was no room to hit AB in the flat. So I'll look at the third and fourth one here briefly. I haven't looked at them as much previously, so we'll kind of look at it together here and see what all went wrong. The one was nearly a conversion by Jesse James. This is the one here where Toussaint dives in last second to try to take it away. Basically, you're just trying to get these pick plays again, these slant flat, Jesse to the flat. I think that's Bell on the slant. Down here, maybe trying to get some sort of rub. Linebackers do a nice job taking away this window. Nothing there in the flat. And again, Jesse nearly has this, and then Toussaint comes in and takes it away and drops the football on the way down. Otherwise, that very likely is a conversion. So, you're just trying to get some pick plays and stuff, and pretty common. Slant flat is a really common red zone look, especially against man-heavy teams or teams that don't play at different depths. But yeah, nearly so by Ben, and then there's Toussaint flying in, and Villanueva is so upset about it. You see it here. Not a fun time. So, that wasn't my favorite play call, I don't think, in the world. I like the other two better, to be honest. But, I think that was relatively sound as well. I mean, there was an idea behind it. And although Bell doesn't, they never run the football here with Bell. He's a target on some of these plays, and some of these are AB's the first progression. So it's not like they're throwing jump balls to Kobe Hamilton. They're looking to get the ball to their playmakers in space, Bell and AB. Last one here. Again, you're kind of getting some similar looks. Potential kind of snag route here. There's a couple slants right here. Just well defended by Dallas to do a really nice job here. Getting some pressure as well, forcing the ball out. Not a heavy rush here, I don't think, just a three-man rush. But they do get a little bit of pressure. I think Ben could have hung in the pocket a little bit better, stepped up, but he kind of starts to float and flush and kind of forces that ball out quick. But there's just, really nothing available here on this play either. So, and then it gets picked off. And at this point, I was really worried because this could be returned for 2 points. And if Dallas takes it the whole way back. And at this point, it was a 1 point lead for Pittsburgh. So if Dallas takes this back, they take the lead again. And so I got really scared because I know it's nothing but a bunch of offensive linemen around here. And I was getting pretty worried for a second there because I couldn't really see where everybody else was at. But a nice hustle by Jesse James down here. And here comes Kobe. We'll look at it real quick from the end zone angle as well. So yep, there's your four. That's what happened. So thank you, Dylan, for the question. I'll start to throw through the final drive here. As painful as it may be to see of the game-winning drive that Dallas had, if you can stomach rewatching it. And of course, if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to ask through the YouTube live chat or through Steelers Depot or Twitter. If you haven't followed me, you can follow me at Alex underscore Kozora, Kozora. Be sure to follow Steelers Depot as well if you have not already done so, though I imagine most of you guys have. This play, I think was maybe maybe their play of the game for Dallas, and it's funny to say that because it was an incomplete pass, but this is such a heads-up play by Jason Witten. He deliberately lets this football go because it's just a little drop off, and he's not going to try to catch it, go nowhere, and force his team to call a timeout. We'll look at it again from the aerial view. He lets this ball go, and if he catches this, they're gonna have to burn a timeout. I think at that point they only have one left. It's not gonna be 2nd and 9, at their own 26 with 37 seconds left or whatever. They're in a really really tough spot, and I bet you they don't win this game. And Tuitt was so close to getting a sack here. They run a nice game with Chicolo and Tuitt, and just a step short of getting Prescott. If they get a sack there, I mean, you have to think that game's over. You can't even think that Dallas is going to be able to do anything to try to come back, being put in second and long with, again, 35 seconds left and one timeout. So that was a really big play by Jason Witten for them. That's a really heady veteran play that I'm sure that team is well accustomed to. And then the very next play was a missed face mask that William Gay definitely had on Cole Beasley. Should have been called, and ended up getting Sean Davis later in the drive. But definitely a face mask right there. If you can see it, that is 100% a face mask. Jason Witten, just a really good player. Such strong hands. Makes really a lot of combat catches. Dallas very lucky to have him. He's a great blocker. He is. He is their Heath Miller, and a more prolific receiver than what Heath ever was, and just about as good as a blocker. Maybe a tick worse, but right up there. I'm gonna flip because I think you guys probably know what happens here. You get the Sean Davis face mask in this next play, and then the Ezekiel Elliott 32-yard touchdown. Um, I want to try to flip towards, I think, the play that Cam Hayward got hurt on that ended his season. I want to make sure I find it. I don't know for sure because it's not super obvious, and obviously he played the entire game. But I think it's this play. And I tried to go through it the best I could to see, when Cam got hurt. We know it's his left pectoral. We know after the game he had that wrap on his left shoulder, so we know which arm it is. And I think this is what happened. Again, not 100% sure, but this is my guess. When he started to kind of move his arm around, you could kind of tell there was something up. It's going to be this little screen to the left to the receiver, Lucky Whitehead, I think. And I think right here, when Hayward tries to tackle, this is actually Terrence Williams. I think he kind of, the way his arm's getting extended trying to tackle, Williams running through him and Hayward stretching out for it. I think that's what did it. And you see him kind of come off there. He lands, on that arm. And you can kind of see it right there at the end where he's kind of working that left arm out. It's dangling a little bit. I'll run the whole thing through so you can kind of get a better idea. And then for this field goal, Hayward is always out here on field goal block team. He's one of the best guys being able to block field goals, and he's not out here. I think he's replaced by Javon Hargrave. So it was before this drive or on this drive, and I think it was this play here. So such an obviously an unfortunate thing no matter what, but for a third down player just trying to tackle a screen to get hurt like that, that's a bummer. And a lot of injuries in this game. The injury list is mounting again. Um, Let me show you if you're interested in the Steven Johnson penalty as well, or the injury. I'm sorry, I said penalty. Really unfortunate too for Steven Johnson. Just really crappy luck. At the end of a touchback, he gets rolled up on. He's going to be, let me pause it. Johnson's going to be down here, and if someone else is just trying to finish their block and push one of the Cowboys players, they push him right into the back leg of Johnson down here. He gets rolled up on and ends up breaking his ankle, is out for the year. So that's obviously a terrible way to go. Dylan, is there any legitimacy to the holding call that Will Gay got during the game? I looked at it live. Um, at first I thought they were gonna call it on Dej, just the way the Gay was kind of motioning. It it's hard to tell from the aerial view that we get. I did see that. It looked maybe a small push, but that's what receivers are gonna do. Let me see if I can find this play. I'm trying to remember where when it was. Uh, I didn't think that. I didn't think Dez pushed off enough though to make it look like offensive pass interference. I don't think really Gay did anything enough to make it look like defensive holding. If I can find where the play was though, because I remember exactly when it was. If you know when it was, Dylan, if you could let me know, that'd be. Oh, never mind. I found it. Never mind. I knew it was somewhere around here. Here's Gay and Dez down here at the bottom, so you can take a look at it, and I'll let you be the judge. I mean, Dez, I can tell kind of does take a swipe, just trying to push off, but I didn't think it was that bad. And I guess Gay kind of caught his arm trying to defend against the swipe, and that's what got the defensive holding call put on him. See it right there. I guess him trying to turn his shoulder a little bit, and I guess it slowed him up. So generally, I think it's a good call. I think Gabe was probably caught for it, and it seemed like they were going to definitely call Dez, but Ben down there reacting to it as well. But I didn't think Dez did enough. You got to do a lot to get called for offensive pass interference in this league. It's got to be pretty egregious, and I don't think it passed that kind of litmus test of being egregious. So I have no problem with the call. I didn't think it really should have been called on anybody, but it is tough to tell from this look. Other thing to look at this play is just how bad Jarvis Jones get abused by Tyron Smith. Now I know Tyron Smith is maybe the best left tackle in football, but here's Jones here. I'll let you guys look because I don't got to say anything to say how bad this was. I mean, that's not even football. I don't know what you want to call that. Again, right here, I mean, there's not even a breakdown of what's wrong. I mean, you want to see a guy just get worked over. I mean, if Tyron Smith ever makes the Hall of Fame, you can bet that play is getting put on that highlight reel they run for offensive linemen. I mean, just knock the hands down and just finish the block like that. I mean, you're just pushing the guy down and throwing him 8 yards upfield. Get into his pads and knock the hands down and just wail on him the rest of the way. Not a good look for Jarvis. I will probably go another 5 minutes here, guys. The chat seems on the light side today. So I'll get to some other work. We're going to do our charting notes here in a little bit. So if you want to see our midseason charting notes, that'll be up a little bit on Steelers Depot later this afternoon. So that's always kind of fun to look at. But I'll roll through some plays right now. I think we've gotten into some of the most important stuff. Let me check the Facebook page and Steelers Depot again. Does not look like there's a lot of activity today, but it makes sense. It's a Friday. It's pretty nice weather outside. everyone's going to be outside enjoying these couple last days. Hey Dan, good to talk to you. Hope you are well, sir. If you do have a question, feel free to ask about a play in this game, or just an overall question about where the Steelers are headed, or where they've been. Good to have you though. Appreciate you stopping by. But I'll let a couple more plays run through here. See if anybody else joins. Yeah, now it's Kozora Steelers Depot for our live stream chat that we've done every Friday at 3. Hope to continue that for the rest of the season. If you do have a Steelers question, feel free to ask. Also, be sure to hang around for our weekly Thursday live chat on SteelersDepot.com. We do 2:30 p.m. for an hour, at least an hour every time. That's every Thursday. That is not the live stream. That is the live chat through Steelers Depot. So you can check it out there. Dan asks, this will be the last year for Jarvis in Pittsburgh. Yeah, likely. The only thing I could see is if they cut like Arthur Moats and they were able to re-sign Jarvis Jones cheap, and Jones became the new, probably slightly better version of Arthur Moats. But honestly, remember, Jones has to want to come back as well, and I can't imagine after his year in Pittsburgh, his time here, what would make him want to come back. The only thing it would be is just the opportunity for playtime and just having a super dry market out there. But I really compare him, and I'm not the first to do this, but I really compare Jarvis to Ziggy Hood, where I think he can be a good player, where they're good run defenders, where they have a lot of hustle and effort, and they've done some good things. They're not some monumental busts that people make him out to be, but they're just really bad scheme fits. Ziggy was, a 4-3 guy at Missouri, gets put in a 3-4 system, just didn't really work out. Asked him to do different things. Jarvis was a 3-4 guy at Georgia, of course, but he's clearly not translating to that in the NFL. He might want to go to a different scheme, or at least one that asks less sacks out of its pass rushers, or just something different. That's what Ziggy Hood, of course, did, going to Jacksonville to play for Gus Bradley, a system that he liked a whole lot more, and rightfully so. And they got some good production out of him. I think that they did, for a short time, not a super long time. And he's kind of bounced around since he was in Washington, and I'm not even sure where Ziggy Hood is at right now. But yeah, I do think it'll be the last year. I mean, the only reasons is if maybe if you cut Moats, you don't want to get rid of everybody. You want to have someone returning, or if they just feel like because they're going to lose Harrison, and they want to bring back some continuity until they have a replacement for Jarvis, because they don't want to go without a replacement. But I think worst comes to worst, if assuming Harrison retires, which I feel is likely, and Jarvis Jones leaves, which I feel is likely as well. Worst case scenario, you should go into next year with Bud and Chicolo as your starters, and Moats as your rotational guy. So, I don't. Chicolo's starting to show a couple positive things. I still don't really know where his ceiling is at. We've got to let the season play out and see how he progresses and grows in this kind of first full-time role. I worry about his ability to hold up against the run game, hold the edge, and things like that. Is he physical enough for it? I have questions about that, but he's doing some positive things. He's able to win the edge sometimes. He's being able to force fumbles. So I think that I wouldn't be surprised to see the team go in with him as a starter next year, because of course he's a starter right now. Yeah, Dan, I think that's a good way to put it. He's not an all-out bust, but he did not come anywhere close to what the Steelers expected and needed out of him and what the position demands for. That's why I said I think it's just a bad scheme fit. And while he's not a bad player, just like Ziggy Hood was not a bad player, it just is not a good mesh between Pittsburgh and Jarvis Jones. And I think now that you've gone through these seasons in Pittsburgh, you've caught a lot of flack. You're not having the success that you wanted to be. You probably feel the weight of that pressure. You're probably spurned a bit by not getting that fifth-year option. I'm sure he was not happy about that. I don't know what would make you want to come back to Pittsburgh. You're a warm weather guy. You played at USC. You played at Georgia. Now you're in Pittsburgh's freezing winters. I don't know. I can't. I mean, again, unless the opportunity is just so good here and he can't find anywhere else, he doesn't think he'll be able to find that. I mean, why would he even want to come back? Is kind of my question. So I don't think he will. Dylan, what do you think are the two or three easiest moves the Steelers can make this offseason that could yield the most positive impact? Well, like I said, edge guy, you got to find one of those in the draft, or make a shrewd free agency move. And I don't really have a lot of names for you right now, but edge rushers got to be set at the top of their list, well above every other position of what they have to address. So I don't know if I wouldn't say it's easy to do, but that's one they do have to make. They got to find at least one, maybe two edge rushers. Maybe bring in one in the draft, the top two draft pick, and then free agency move, something like that, or double up in the draft. I mean, you have some options there, so that's one of them. Um, Other moves than that, you know, I I guess not a ton come to mind right now. I mean, we kind of know some of the needs for this team. About do you add another receiver? Do you get a premier left tackle? Do you make another investment in the defensive line to make sure you really have well-rounded depth at defensive end? So, I mean, there's some needs on this team right now. I think the other part of it, though, is just some growth and development of young guys. Steelers are playing a lot of rookies, a lot of young guys right now, especially defense, especially in the secondary. So just them getting time and reps and having a whole offseason to kind of breathe and figure stuff out is just going to help them a lot. So I think that's an easy move to make, and that you don't have to do anything special about it. They're just going to have their natural progression. Artie Burns, Sean Davis are going to be a year older, year wiser. That difference from your rookie year to your second year is such a big change. The learning curve is so much easier. You're able to do so much more. You're more confident. The team's more confident in you. So I think that's one thing you don't have to do, but it's going to really help them. All right, guys. If you have a question, let me know in the next minute or so. I think we're gonna wrap this chat up. Like I said, appreciate you, Dylan and Dan, stopping by. Like talking to you guys, Dylan. Appreciate you being here. I know you've been here pretty much every single week now. I talked to a couple other people. I thought they were gonna be on, but stuff happens. So if you do have a question, let me know, and then we'll probably wrap this thing up. This won't be archived, so Dan, I don't know if you were here the whole time, but if you weren't, this will be archived. So if you want to go back and watch the beginning, when I was talking to Dylan earlier and just going through some plays, that'll be up there. So they're always archived either through Steelers Depot or my YouTube channel, Alex Kozora, of course. All right, guys. I think we're gonna wrap things up. Again, do appreciate it. I think we'll be back next Friday. Hopefully, things will be picking up a little bit more. Hopefully, come out with a win against Cleveland, and that will make more people want to come back to the chat and talk about some good things with the Steelers. So, of course, that's a must-win game for Pittsburgh. Don't even want to think about what happens if this team loses to Cleveland. So let's think positively. Let's assume they're going to get their win, get back to 500, and get back on track to winning the AFC North. Because as you probably know, and everyone should know, for the Steelers to make the playoffs, they have to win the AFC North. There's no way they're going to get in as a wild card team. There's only going to be one team coming from the AFC North in the playoff picture, and it's going to be, of course, who wins the AFC North. It's not going to be a wild card team. It's too competitive this year in the AFC. You're going to have the loser between Denver and Oakland. They're going to get in. You might have a Tennessee get in, maybe a Miami get in. Kansas City sitting there as well. So there's just no way that that the Steelers are gonna, or whoever the second place finisher in the AFC North is, there's no way they're gonna make the playoffs. I really find that unlikely. So for a Steelers win. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, for asking your questions. Again, you can see the archive on this pretty immediately up on SteelersDepot.com, and we will talk to you in a week.